Welcome to, I guess this is now day 3 of my little YouTube video experiment. One of these days, I'm certain some sort of catchy title is going to emerge. But today is not that day. Today is the day that we explore the shadow. So day 1, 2, 3, we sort of dealt with how do you get a life that you want to live? That's connected to true choices. Why don't we make true choices? We don't make true choices because we have these sabotaging beliefs, and that those sabotaging beliefs are somehow connected to the tribal evolutionary survival of mankind. Great, fine, all right. So how is it that we hold on to these beliefs without knowing about them? For some people, maybe this is the first time you're encountering this idea. Maybe packaged in this specific way, but maybe when you hear the different beliefs, I'm insignificant, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not perfect, I'm not ready, and I don't belong. Yes, I got all 6. You've heard these, you've felt these, but you've never sort of had them sort of in a package together. So the question is, why? And that's why I wanted to take today to sort of talk about the shadow. So you are not one thing. That's the big mindset shift that I want to sort of offer here, is that this bag of bones called Wendell is at the very least 2 things. I personally believe I'm a lot more than that, but we're not at that video yet. We are gonna just talk about the at least 2 things that you are. And very simply, you are the things that you are aware of, and you are the things that you are unaware of. And we've all had the experience of encountering the way that we are that we're unaware of. It's usually not a very pleasant experience. In a lot of ways, there's the thing that you like about yourself, the identity that at least you're comfortable with having, that you go out to the world and you show up as. And then, usually in relationships, but sometimes an introspective practice can tell you about this, you will encounter someone else's opinion of you that does not jive with your opinion about yourself. And so then you have to answer a question. Who is right and who is wrong? A lot of us in the early stages pretty much just start with the everyone else that's not me is wrong. And so they hold on to this image of themselves. Now, on the off chance that someone is actually, as a mirror, showing you a true part of about yourself that you just don't know about, the way that your mind deals with this is that it takes that information, honestly tags it to that person, even if it's conscious, subconscious, you'll usually tag it to that person, stick it in a little ball, and stick it in sort of your backpack. Now, I make that expression very specifically because the shadow sometimes gets a bad rap. It's called the shadow because it's unseen, it's dark, it's mysterious, it's all of the stuff that we usually ascribe to things that we don't like. But really, and this kind of goes to the Chinese conception of yin-yang or yin-yang, the yin-yang, light, dark, that sort of polarity, originally etymologically came from the idea of the side of the mountain that the light is on and the side of the mountain that's in shadow. So it's still all referring to one mountain experience. And so the shadow experience isn't a bad experience, it's just the one that the light isn't on. And the light of awareness is the place that you put your attention on, and usually it's the part of yourself that, for whatever reason, you can accept. Now, the interesting thing about this, I'm just going to offer this truth bomb soon, is that there are parts of yourself that you hate that is in someone's light, in the sense of if they woke up with that thing, they wake up every single day with that thing that you don't like about yourself, they've got it, and they're like, woohoo, this is great. I love it. I'll give you a great example right now. Every single thing that President Trump does, we look at him, we go, ugh, gross, terrible, I hate it, this guy is garbage. And I don't think he's a particularly happy person, but his self-concept is such that every action that he chooses, he's like, hell yeah, this is what I'm about, I like this. Not saying good or bad, I'm just saying light, dark, from just the sense of there are things that you embrace and the things that you don't embrace. So when it comes to these self-sabotaging identities, these are really just relationships to the parts of yourself that you can see or that you can't see. So what do I mean by the shadow? Again, I'm kind of talking circles around it just because that's how I talk, but really just to give you like a multi-layered view of the aspect. So I like to think of the shadow as that which is behind you versus what's in front of you. We only got eyes in the front of our head. As much as we like to think that we can get this sort of 360-degree view of reality, we cannot. And so the shadow is just what's behind you. And usually a lot of our shadow material comes from the past. So when you're walking around with your eyes and you're looking at everyone else's, it's really easy for you to see someone else's shadow. You go, hey, what's going on there? You're looking at behind them because you can. That's really a lot of the reason that we have relationship is, hey, can you watch out for me? Can you watch my behind me? So that, because I can't see that. We enter this agreement and then sometimes we forget that that's like the entire point of being with people. And then we get mad when it's like, why did you show me that I had poop hanging on my butt? And it's like, because I'm the only one that can see it. You can't see it. You're too busy looking the opposite direction. Scatological humor. So what you can do if you find yourself having one of these beliefs but you can't see it, or it keeps showing up but you don't know how to get rid of it, that's usually a sign that it is in the shadow. And one of the easiest ways of dealing with shadow material is just taking it from behind you and putting it in front and embracing it. Because if you take it from behind you and put it in front and are terrible to it, you are disintegrated from it. And we're gonna talk about this a lot as I sort of explore parts integration. But the simple act is just say like, okay, let's take this from behind me and put it in front. And again, a simple activity that you can do is say, I have this identity that I don't belong. Take it from behind you, put it in front, and try and think of the positives that could come from not belonging. As a kind of weird dude myself, I've had that belief that I don't belong, but in my own way, I've sort of, I'm gonna make this my own. Really iconic people don't belong. The square pegs and the round holes. These are the folk that are able to really expand human evolution. That's dope. Now, is that now a limiting belief or not? In fact, no, it's someone's strength. So the way to get rid of the limiting belief isn't to destroy it, but it's really to transmute it into something that is easy to look at. Some of them are just deeply untrue, like the idea of I'm not perfect. Yes, if you do have this image in front of you in your awareness called perfection, and you then somehow can take your own image and put it next to that and sort of recognize these aren't the same, yes, you're not perfect. But if you take a different approach, i.e., let's go ahead and take someone from behind you that is perfect. One, you'll find that, okay, they're really just conforming to your idea of perfect, but if you were to ask them, they would also probably say that they aren't perfect. So who's true and who is right? Do this a bunch of times and ultimately you'll realize that no one believes they're perfect. And yet, because everyone is part of the big pile of everything that is, we're all perfect. In the sense of not one of us could be removed from the universe just because of the conservation of energy and matter. I don't want to get too sciencey with it, but if somehow I like disappeared tomorrow, that would break the entire universe. It'd be bad. So I am perfect as I show up here with all my thoughts and my beliefs and all the weird stuff. I gotta be exactly this way for the universe to stay in balance. Now, there may be a different experience that I'd like to have. And to get access to that different experience, I can change into something else. But I would not be changing because I am imperfect. I'd just be changing because I want to see what the view from the mountain looks like over there. And you can do this with all of the limiting beliefs. So really, we do shadow work as a way to solve for, I guess, deal with these limiting beliefs that we sort of brought into our awareness so that we can then eventually make true choices. Now, I'm gonna kind of leave it there. I want to keep these videos as short as possible, but I do want to breadcrumb us to where we're going next. Specifically, every single one of these identities, these beliefs, can turn into an identity. We're going to talk all about identities and personalities and a lot of stuff in future videos, but I just wanted to see this here that this process of sort of making characters and substituting different personalities and stuff for people that hold that belief is so powerful because our personalities are built out of our beliefs, out of our identities. The things that we've chosen to identify as become who we are. And I'm identifying right now as someone who makes YouTube videos. And so thus I am. I'm making jokes about it because I also identify as someone who self-deprecates so that they can feel safe and on the fun, silly side of things, as opposed to someone who is very serious and takes things very seriously. And I could identify with that if I decided that's the experience that I want to have. I don't. It feels very itchy to be that person. So a lot of this aspect of making true choices is aligning with your whole personality. You can really only make a true choice when you've taken as much as possible from behind you and put it in front of you and choose that. So this parts integration work that we're going to talk about, ultimately, that's what that does. Is it allows you to have compassion for and love all parts of yourself, so that you can make a true choice, so that you can have something great. You can't really change your life until you know what the life is. And you don't have to hate the life that you have now to get the life that you want to have. So that's for today. Thanks for listening in. If you're just seeing me for the first time, go ahead and hit subscribe. I don't know how many videos it's gonna take for me to have the complete version of the idea, but my goal is still 100, so hopefully I will have learned some new stuff to fill that. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video.